Hello everybody, it's been a while since I have been on a live or recorded anything for you, so I thought I'd come on today and I would do this vintage looking pink Santa Claus wreath. I'm going to zoom in so you can see everything right about there. Hopefully that helps. So I got this from Glitter Shack Creations. I'm going to use this in a wreath today. We're going to use a work frame. I've got a work frame here. I had a couple of these that I got with my subscription box, and I don't normally use these, but I thought I'd go ahead and use them up, so I'm going to use this one. We have some 10-inch jute mesh. We're going to use that as our base to do some poofs. We have two shades of pink over here. One is a border mesh. The other is just a value mesh, a regular mesh. Nothing fancy in that one. Excuse me. And then we've got our pink Santa ribbon that will match. And then I have a variety of other pink ribbon and some gold here because it is pink and gold, that vintage looking gold in there. And then I also have some ornaments that we're going to add into it right here, some pink and gold. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm using my Sidekick from Susie's Recent Things, my mesh holder. So I'm using that to hold my mesh while I do this, and then we'll use it to cut. So we have a 15-inch work frame, has 18 ties on it. We are using the beige one or natural color. So this way I don't have to make my own frame. I can just do this and get these used up. Alright, so I'm going to start with poofs. I'm going to do 10-inch mesh. I'm going to gather my end up, and I'm going to find a starting point. So I think I want to start where I have two that are fairly close together, so when I transition down to the bottom, it's not that far to go. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go in this first tie right here, and then when we come back around, that's where we're going to end up. We'll finish off in that tie, and then we'll transition down to the bottom. I'm going to give it 2 twists. Then I'm going to tuck my sides in, and I'm going to gather this up, and I'm going to measure it out 10 inches. Now I'm going to measure it using my mat. Some people use the method of skipping a tie and going to the next tie, and that'll give you your 10 inches because they're about 5 inches apart. You can do that as well. So we're just going to do some little poofs here. I want to make sure that my ends stay under, or my sides stay under, because we don't want those catching on anything, and we want it to look nice and finished. So there is our 10-inch. And we're going to do that all the way around the wreath. Just like you would if you were using 21-inch mesh, we're just using 10-inch for this one. I just push it down in there, get it nice and tight, make sure it goes all the way to the frame. I like to start at the top. Makes for an easier transition for me. Alright, so we're already at the beginning where we started. So we're going to make one last poof into that one, and then we're going to transition down to the bottom row. So you can either open it up and put this in, or you could just lay it on top and then twist it again. I'm going to go ahead and open it up this time and put that twist in there. We'll cut off this excess when we get done. And now we're going to take this and we're going to transition down to the bottom. So again, we're going to gather it up We're going to measure our 10 inches, and we're going to go straight down here to the bottom. And again, we're going to work our way all the way around. I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. It is a Saturday here. It's been a busy couple of months for me. I've been absent because we had our Wreath retreat. It'd be 2 weeks ago this week. Can't believe it's already been 2 weeks since we did it. Still recuperating. But we had a fabulous weekend. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves. We got really nice reviews from everyone that attended. If you were one of them, thank you for being there. And if you weren't able to make it, we hope you'll come to our next one. We don't know when that'll be just yet. We're trying to recoup from this one, and then we'll plan the next. We'd like to do it at a different time of year. We've been doing them in September. So we'd like to do a different season because both the bars have been Christmas. So it'd be fun to do something, maybe Halloween, maybe, 4 seasons, do a bunch of different seasons, maybe one project for each season, something like that. So yeah. But it was a huge success. We had so much fun. We had disco night. That was our theme party. Everyone dressed up and it was so fun. They had a really good time. I will be posting more pictures and videos. I just have not had a chance to get them all loaded up and put together like I want. I want to get some of the pictures that other people took and kind of add to it because, of course, I didn't take a whole lot of pictures being busy and all. So I had my daughter was there and she took pictures for me. But still, she was working as well, so we'll have to get some of the pictures and put them all together and make a little album or something so everybody can see what they missed out on. All right, I'm back at the beginning. We're going to open this one up and put this other tie or other poof in here. And then with the extra mesh, what we're going to do is we're going to go around and we're going to fill it in and get this a little fuller. So we're going to go in the center, fill in these center pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the bottom to the top and still keeping that 10 inch. So I'm going to open it, put this in. So that's going to fill in my middle in between my 2 rows. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one, but we're going to come down. So we're going to zigzag it. So I'm going to open this and put this in here. I'm just using this rest of this roll to use it up for 1, but 2 to fill in. Usually when you do this with the 21-inch mesh, you don't have to fill in so much. But why waste it? That one was down, so we're going to go up. You don't have to do this. This is just what I prefer to do with it. Because I don't want a bunch of half-empty rolls laying around. So there we go. There's our base. So we're going to fill that in here in just a second. All right. So I've got both my meshes here. Again, we're using the solid pink value mesh, and then we're using this border stripe mesh as well. So let me get that situated on there so it doesn't come undone. We don't need that. All right, we have our mesh roller here. We are going to cut these and make a straight line. Let's start with a nice clean line. Then we're going to roll them out together right about there. And I want to cut them every 10 inches. So my mat is 36, so we're going to go 10, 20, and 30. So we've got 3. We want a total of 18. Alright, so I've got my pink pipe cleaners, and I've just got like 8 of them here. I'm going to fold them in half, cut them with my scissors or wire cutters. And all I need is those half pieces to put my bundles together. So I like to use a little chip clip. You could use the piece that comes off of the roll, the cardboard. You could use that to help you roll. You could use a dowel to help you roll it. This is like a 3/4 inch dowel that I have. So I like to do it. See how the mesh naturally curls? So that's, of course, the direction we want to go, but we're going to separate them. And then I just fold over one end and then just kind of roll it. So I can zoom in for you here, make sure that you can see that a little better. So I'm just taking it and I'm folding one end over about the size I want my curl to be. And then I'm just going to continue to roll it so that I have a curl. If you want them a certain size, then use your dowel or your cardboard. So then I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, my half a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to twist it all the way after I fold these in half. And I'm going to twist it a couple of times, and then I'll cut the excess off because we don't need this. We're not using this part anymore. When we put them in, we're going to put them in and put the twist tie around it right there. So when we put these together, we want to kind of make sure that we're spreading them out because we want them in an X pattern. Okay, I'll show you now how to do it with the cardboard. And I know some of you have probably already done this, so you don't need to be shown how, but I'm going to show those who don't know how. Just roll it, and then pull your cardboard out. So you're going to have a thicker curl. If you don't want them that thick, use something smaller. And I'll show you the dowel here in just a second. So you want to roll it and then just pull your cardboard out. And then put those on an X pattern. You're going to pinch the centers. Put your pipe cleaner around it. Cinch it down tight. And then what I do is I bend them over, fold it over like this, and pinch it together, and then twist. I do about 6 twists, just to make sure. And there's that curl. Okay, the other way you can do it is with the dowel. Now this is what I would prefer because I don't like them as big as this. And the dowel comes a little closer to when I do it by hand. So I tuck those ends in and then just roll. And I think this gives me a nice tighter curl. So just take it, fold it over, and then roll it. And that keeps all those edges in, and it keeps it from coming out of the ends here as well. Then you want to crisscross them. It also makes it easier when you're pinching them in the center here. So then you just fold this over, pinch this inward, and then twist. And that's how I like to do them there. So you get this nice little bundle. They're in a crisscross shape, but they're nice and tight that way. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and then I'll be right back. All right, we're on the last one here. So one of the tips I can give you is when you're rolling these, roll the one you want on the bottom first. So I want the bright pink to be on the bottom, and then I want the regular pink to be on the top. It just makes it a little easier for you. So you just lay them on there crisscross, put your pipe cleaner on, fold them in half, pinch, and there we go. Alright, so I'm going to open this back up a little bit so you can see more of my desk. And I'm going to bring this up to the top here. And we're just going to start putting these in, going all the way around, and we're going to put them in every tie. So you don't have to open your ties back up, you can just put it right in on top. And go twist around. And then I want to make sure to spread those out. Since we're using all the same ones, I'm just going to go around and do them. I'm not going to do just the top, just the bottom. I'm going to go around and put them wherever I need them. Wherever there's a tie. Now when you're using two different colors, you want to make sure that you spread out the colors so they're not, you don't have pink, you know, the two small regular pink on the bottom like this one is, and the two dark pink on the top. You want to keep them so that they're spread out. Now if you were doing different colors, say two more different colors, then you would want to be mindful where you put them so that you don't put the same colors, you know, above each other or next to each other, that kind of thing. You want to spread them out a little more. Now you could also at this point have your ribbons all cut up to put in here too, but I haven't cut mine yet, so we're going to do that in just a second here. It would save some time to be able to do that, have them ready to go. You could also add tubing, you can also add ruffles. You don't have to do curls in every one. You could do 9 curls and then 9 ruffles. So you could alternate between ruffles and curls. That would be poof, ruffle, and curl method. Which used to be what I did, was the poof, ruffle, and curls. That was one of my favorite methods to do. And our last one. So those go in pretty quick. Alright. Alright, so this one is a double-sided. This one is a deluxe ribbon. Normally I would not use a deluxe ribbon to cut up and do tails with, but because of the theme and how it matches my sign with those Santa faces and that, I do think I'm going to use it. Alright, so let me move this out of the way again. And we're going to put, oh come on. Alright, we're going to put this over here. Now, I'm going to use my Flexi-Tail measuring board. There will be a link in my link tree for her shop as well. And you can pick these up. She's got them in 3 sizes. They come as a set in 12, 13, and 14 inch. Alright, that should be 18. Let's count. 9. Okay, so we got 9 on each side. We're going to cut that off. Pull the board out. And hold on to your ribbons. And then just cut them at the top and the bottom. That's very thick and a lot of ribbon to go through. So take your time. Oh. Now this ribbon came from, I want to say, Craft Outlet, but I'll tell you in just a second here. Alright, there we go. Phew. That gives your hand a workout. This one came from Craft Outlet. It's very, very pretty. And we're going to use a little bit of this in the bow. So we'll use the rest of it for that. Alright, so we're going to use the shear. We've got 18 pieces here. We're going to cut these off. Thought I had another gold, but apparently I don't know what I did with it. That's okay, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. Alright, so we've got our golds. Get this out of the way. Alright, let's dovetail these. Because they're so thick, I'm only going to do 2 at a time. So you're just folding that in half and cutting from the inside to the outside at an angle, and that's a dovetail. So again, you can get those boards at AC Inspired Wreaths on Etsy, and her link will be in my link tree. So if you just click on the description, find that link tree link, and it'll take you to it. And there will be boxes. You just click on that box, it'll take you right to her shop. Alright, let's grab our wreath. And we're going to go all the way around with our ribbons. I'm just going to layer them on top of each other. So see how that gold just is laying on top? It's not covering it. Because it's sheer, you'll be able to see the Santas. So I'm going to scrunch them, and then I'm going to fan them out, and I'm going to go right into my top, right on top. Give it a twist, and then spread those wires or those ribbons out, alternating up and down, so that it has that nice X pattern there. And we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, we're on our last one. I'm going to put this one in, and then we are going to put our sign on and make a bow. And then once we get that on, we will put our ornaments in and maybe some greenery. Just a little bit, not too much. Alright, so here we have it with all of our ribbons. Now again, you could put some tubing in there if you wanted to take up even more of that space, but because we're putting our ornaments on our twist ties, I'm not going to do that. So what we'll end up doing is folding one of the ties down and keep the other one, and we will put the ornament right over it. Alright, because we have that gap in the center, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pipe cleaners across. Let me grab a few here. And then I'm going to put mesh ruffles in the center. So I'm going to just create an X pattern here. I'm going to put two of these together. So we're just making a longer pipe cleaner for it. So we're twisting them together here. Alright, so there's two of those. I don't think we'll need any more. But what I want to do is I want to go with my oops. That scratched my finger. Let me make sure I don't bleed. I bleed very easily. Alright, so I want to find my crossbars, which right here we've got one. And it goes across to the other side, obviously. Right here. And I just want to pull it so that it's tight. And then we're going to go around that crossbar again and then bring it out, and we're going to twist it around itself right here a couple of times. We'll cut the excess off. Let me get this tight here. So we're pulling it, but not so that it changes the shape of our wreath frame. We're just getting it tight. So I went around once, and then we're going to twist this around here. Like that. And we'll do the same with this side. There we go. So it's nice and tight. And then we're going to go around across the other way. Oops, where'd it go? Here it is. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go around the frame here. So there's no crossbar here. So I'm going to get me a little bit of the wreath frame. Come up and over again. And then we're going to twist this on here. We're just going to twist it till it takes up all that extra on the end. Then I'm going to go underneath that one and I'm going to wrap it around at one time. And then I'm going to take the extra and I'm going to come over here to this side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull it tight, but not too tight that it changes the shape of my frame. I'm going to go around the frame again. Fingers don't want to go in here. There we go, right there. And then I'm going to wrap it around itself all the way until it takes up that extra. There we go. Now we'll use that for our ruffles to attach to. So we're going to take 2 of these right here. We'll cut them both at the same time. Let me get this out of the way while I'm cutting. Stay there, please. Don't move. Okay, let's take these 2, put them back together. Come on. I don't think we'll need more than 2 ruffles. We'll see. Let's do 2 to start. And I'm going to cut them at about, let's do about 22. I'm going to do 24 inches. Let's do 24 inches. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. And that's going to help keep our sign lifted so it doesn't sink in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these pipe cleaners here. We're going to take this one right here. I'm going to fold my ends to keep that fraying in, maybe 2 or 3 times. Ruffle it up. Go right up the center. Fold this end down, and then fold it over once, and then ruffle the rest of the way. Okay? Make sure I've got all my ruffles where I want them. Then I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, wrap it around it. Probably could have used a half, but it's okay. I have plenty. And then we're going to put this down in here, and we're going to attach it to the cross that we just made right here. So you can tie that around there. So maybe we will use 4. Okay, so I got a couple of twists. We can cut that off, and we're just going to push that down. We'll alternate these. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to fold it 2 times, ruffle it up. I'm going to fold this down and then roll it once and then finish ruffling. Okay, now we're going to go right next to it, right here on this side. Oops, I need my pipe cleaner on it first. Let's take one of these little pieces that we just cut off. We'll twist it. Add that on there. And then we'll use this to attach it here. And this is just going to fill in our center with some mesh. So I'm going to twist that. And fold that over. And then we're going to cut 2 more and then 1 for the center, I think. We'll fill it in nicely. So I'm going to cut 2 more of those at 24 inches. And then I'm going to cut 1 of the dark purple or pink to go in the center at 24. That should take care of it. Alright, so we just put in that other solid pink. Let's do the dark pink. When you ruffle, spread your fingers out so it helps to keep it more uniform. Come on. And then ruffle the rest of that. Let's put this in the center. This is why I like using the pine wreath bases better, because most of the time you don't have to worry about that center. It usually fills it in pretty nicely. All right, we're going to put our solid pink right there. And then in the center, we'll put our dark pink. And then we can put our sign on there. Our sign is 10 inches. And again, it came from Glitter Shack Creations. I love their signs. I love David's signs. He makes some beautiful signs. I have a whole bunch that I got from him. He also donated to our retreat, which was really nice. So we got to give away some of his signs for our door prizes. All right, and we're going to go right here. Yeah, we had several people who donated to our event. Susie's Recent Things with the mesh roller. She donated a collapsible mesh roller, and she also donated one of the hot iron tool holders. She donated a glue gun holder. So they were really thrilled to get those prizes. And then we had Wall Decor by Faye. She donated some sign and ribbon sets. Teresa from Wreath Addiction RN. She donated some goodies, some gnomes and some ribbon and signs and things to go with that. And then we had RCL Signs and More donated some signs for our swag bags and some keychains that she made. And then we had Nona's Nutty Crafts. Now she was not only a vendor and donated to our event, she was also a guest designer and taught them how to make a gingerbread attachment for their wreath that they made. That was awesome. They all had a good time doing that. It's nice to do once in a, to say we've done it. It's not something that maybe they're interested in doing all the time, but it was a nice thing to do and say, hey, I've made my own attachment before. And then we had who else donated? Wreath and Around donated. She was a attendee, and she donated some ribbon. And who else? I know I'm going to forget somebody, and I don't want to. We had Carrie from Carrie's Wreaths, and she's over in England. She donated some gift cards to Decor Exchange to buy some goodies. And I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people. It's kind of all a blur right at the moment. But it's on our website, so if you are ever interested in our retreats, check them out. You can go to craftinginthecarolinas.com. You will see the information there. If you follow that page or follow my page on Facebook, you can join our email list, get on the list, and get notified first when we do announce our next event. So you'll want to be one of the first to get notified. All right. Looks like I've smashed everything down over on this side, so we're going to park this back up. But yeah, we would love for you to follow us and to join the email list so that you can get notified to the next event. And you can come to our in-person event. All right, so again, here is our sign. We're going to put that right here on this side, right on top. Then we're going to make a bow. All right, so I want to take, my sign does not have any holes in it. They don't come with holes. So I need to create some holes, and I'm going to go right here. This one has got a little medallion at the top and the bottom in the picture. So I'm going to use that as a guide, and that's going to be my point to put in my holes. So that little hole punch, it is so small that you can't even see those holes. That's what you want to use. That's called a beadsmith. You can get those online. If you go to, again, my link tree in the description, it'll take you to my Amazon store, and you'll find those in there. All right, so we're going to put that right on top here. I'm going to take my weaving needles. I have these long weaving needles in my shop. We use these to help us get our wires on our wreath. I'm going to do the bottom first. So I'm just going to take both of these wires. I'm going to put them through the eye of the needle. And I'm going to go right down through my mesh and everything. I'm not moving anything out of the way. And then I'm going to feel underneath where that comes out. And I'm going to pull so that my wires, I'm going to take one and put it around the frame. I don't ever tie off to my mesh or to anything other than the frame. If you do, that mesh could come off, it could rip, it could, anything could happen. Come unraveled, whatever. So I like to tie off to the actual frame. So I'm going to put my wires around, one on either side of this bottom ring of the frame, and I'm going to twist it on there. Now I'm not twisting too tight because if I need to adjust it, I want to be able to. So I don't want it to look sunken in or pulled down too tight. All right, so I need to decide where my top is going to be. Right here, I think. That's where I'm going to put my hanger, so I want to make sure that my sign is going in the right direction. All right, so I'm going to take that again. I'm going to go right down here through all this mesh and all these ribbons, and I'm going to guide my needle so that it goes around the frame in between the two rings. And then I'm going to flip this over. So see, now it's in here, and I'm going to take one of these wires, and I'm going to go on the other side of the frame, and I'm going to gently twist that around so I don't pull my sign too tight. And I want to make sure now that it's sitting to where it should be and that it's not sunken in. Let's get my mesh folded over here so that we can see it. There we go. So from here it looks like it's okay. I do think my bottom is a little too tight, so I am going to loosen this one just a little bit. So I'm going to undo it, and it should let it drop a little bit. And then I'm going to twist it again, back on. And let's look at it now. Now it looks better. Okay, it does have a little bit of movement to it. That's okay. We don't want it to be too tight. Let's get everything back where it goes. Ribbons are all curled and twisted up. I want to make sure we see the Santa faces. All right, so there it is. So there's the sign. Now we're going to go ahead and make a bow. Oops, I guess I'm going the wrong way. Let me get back over here. There we go. All right, we're going to put a bow up here. Let me see, do I want to... No, we're just going to do a regular bow. All right, I'm going to move this over again. We're going to grab our bow maker. So this is an easy bow, sew and go. I sell these in my shop. If anyone's interested, you can just click on the description, go to the Linktree link, and it'll take you to my Etsy. And in my Etsy store, you will find these. They come with a spool holder, a carrying bag, instructions, and this comes out. So if you wanted to travel with it, it's convenient. So those are in my shop. All right, let's get our ribbons over here and see what we want to use. So I have several golds here. We know we're going to use this one, of course, and then I have this little pink here that'll go on the top. So I don't know, I wanted to see about using this 4-inch, but I'm not sure if I like it with this. I'm going to try it. This one was not an expensive one. I got it from Big Lots before they closed one year. They had some really It's a thick ribbon. Don't get me wrong, it is a thick ribbon. But it was not very expensive. It's only 15 feet though, so. But we're only going to use a strip of it. We're not going to really make loops with it. So I think I want to make a little 7 to 8 inch tail going up. And it's got these little gold beads on the side. So we're going to do this so that there's the top. We can angle cut it. We could fold it over. This one doesn't have such a nice backing, so you would want to fold it the other way. But when you do that, it kind of makes the beads come off. So you want to be careful with that. So we might just angle cut that. And then we're going to make our tail. Let's see, that's 7. I think we're going to make our tail about 16 inches or so. So we want, it's better to make it longer than shorter. We'll cut that off. And this will last you a while if you're not using too much of it like this. I just want a little 4-inch in the background. And this happens to be the only one I have that's a 4-inch in that gold. Alright, so there's our tail. Now we're going to take our Santa. I should have gotten another pink out, but we're going to make this work. Now, your Santa is one directional. So we're going to do 4 loops, 6 inches, total of 4. So that'd be 2 loops on each side at 6 inches. And that'll probably use up the rest of our ribbon, which is okay. This other tail is going to be going up because I want those Santa faces up here. So I'm going to cut them off at about 7-8 inches. Like I said, I'm going to cut it longer than shorter. And then that leaves us probably about a yard or so of this. So if we wanted to go back in with another loop, we could do that on top. All right, so there's our Santas. This one goes up, this one comes down, this one goes up. So you see these Santas are upside down. So if you really wanted to fix that and it bothers you that much, just take the whole ribbon at the base and twist it one time, right position. But it also makes your ribbons a little wonky, so be careful when you do it and make sure you get your ribbons flattened out. Otherwise, they're going to be not sitting right. And because this is a thicker ribbon, that can also make it harder. All right, so there we go. Once we get our zip tie on there, it's going to hold all that stuff in place. We'll leave that. All right, now we're going to go in with the sheer. And I don't like that it's a sheer. I really don't like that it's a sheer. But we will be able to see our Santas. And it does match the other one, and it does, when the light hits it, it does pick up the colors. So this one's going to be about 5.5 inches. And we're going to do 2 loops on each side with this one at 5.5. Let's keep those ribbons right there. I don't normally, I don't like a sheer ribbon, but I think it's going to work only because we don't want to hide our Santas. So we'll see. You know what, if we don't like it, guess what? We can take it apart and we can redo it. There's no rule that says we can't. So I want these a little bit smaller. That one's a little too big. There we go. All right, we're going to cut this one off long as well. All right, now that we have that on there, I was thinking I should grab another pink and put that in, but I'm thinking maybe I'll take the Santas. Let's see how much we have here, a little over a yard. Oh, let's see. I think we're just going to do 5 inches. And then we're going to bring this down here. So we're just putting that one right in the center there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Now we're going to go in with our pink here. So this is a 7/8 or 5/8. This is a 5/8. I'm not going to make this one as long, but we are going to go in and do 2 loops on each side with this one. Then these will be about 4.5 inches. I really like the shimmer of this one. If you've never tried these, you should get them. They have them in all the colors. They have them in 1 inch, 2.5 inch, 7/8, 5/8. You can get them at Craft Outlet. Alright, so there's 2 loops on each side. I think we used the lighter pink for the retreat in one of our projects. Alright, so there's the pink. Very, very shimmery. Now we're going to go in with the same ribbon but in gold, and I'm only doing 1 loop of this on each side. So we're going to have a little tail coming down, and then we're going to do 1 loop, and we're going to make it shorter like that. And then this will be the tail going up, and we'll make it longer. So we just did 1 little loop with that. It's kind of like our center loop. Alright, now we're going to take our zip tie. We're going to go underneath everything. Make sure you get all the way up underneath all your ribbons. And make sure I'm in the right place, because there we go. Alright, we're going to pull this up and around. I'm going to pull my bow and my tie towards the top, because eventually I want that locking part to be on the back side. So I am going to pull that off to the side. It also will help keep all your loops and that from moving when you're trying to get this off and get it fluffed out and to get it cinched down. Alright, so we're going to grab this whole side right here, pull straight up, and then there's a little divot that creates right there from those pegs, and I'm going to pull that zip tie back around here, and I'm going to tighten it up. Let's get it tight so that nothing comes apart. Get it tight while we're fluffing. I'm going to take another zip tie and I'm going to put it through the underside, and this is what we're going to use. Now you could use floral wire, you could use pipe cleaners, you could use whatever. I'm going to use zip tie. So I'm going to put this zip tie through the back, going underneath that locking part, and then it's going to create what's going to hold this onto the wreath. So we've got 3 little handles here now that we can use, and I'm going to move all my ribbons and get them fluffed out. We'll trim everything down in just a minute. I just want to make sure that everything is in the place that I want it in before I cinch down my zip tie all the way. Once I get it zip tied down, then we can go ahead and cut and fluff more. But see, I want everything in place before I cinch that zip tie down. Because if it's not, then once you cinch it down, you can't fix it. You're going to have to take that zip tie off and redo it. And I don't want to do that. So to get it extra tight, I'm going to use my zip tie tool, again, in my Amazon store. Click on the link. And I give it a couple clicks to tighten it, and then I just cut it off. Put it over here because my trash can's covered. So all we're left with are the 2 that are going to hold this onto the wreath. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and fix our bow. So we can get everything where we want it. And then you can trim off any tails, any dovetailing you want to do, any angle cuts you want to do. Alright, so this one here, I think I'm going to do an angle cut here, and I'm just going to go from right here up to there in between the beads. And then for this one, I think I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to try and get them all going in the same direction. We're going to angle cut this. We're going to angle cut this. Angle cut. Now you can dovetail if you want. Totally up to you, whatever your preference is. Alright, so we've got all those. Now here, I want to go, which way do I want to go? This way. Right there. And that's going to cut off part of the space, but that's alright. There we go. And then on this one at the very bottom, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it and go straight across right there. I think I got all of them. So there we go. This one's a little long. I'm going to cut it down. I don't mind those at the end being long because I can curl those. Alright, so there we go with our bow. And now we're going to take the zip tie, pull that through, and we're going to get this up here on top. Ooh, come back. Let's get this on here. So I'm going to take it, and I want to come almost across from his face here. So I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to go right down in between everything. And I'm going to feel underneath for it. There it is. And then I'm going to try and pull it up on the other side. Got to create a space for it right there. There we go. Now you could use your needle on this, but it's not going to work the same. But with the zip tie, it's a little bit heavier or harder to do it with the needle, but not impossible. Alright, there we go. We're going to spread this out. Alright, so now I can see that this one up here is way too long. That's one I missed, so I didn't cut that. So I'm going to clip that one. And I want to clip off where it's got a little unravel to it and that wire sticking out. Alright, let's see. We want to get all of our stuff center stage. Right here. This one over here as well. So we got that one there, that one there. This one's a little long. Let's knock something off the table here in a minute. Get rid of that one. Let's take a look. I like it. I like it. Okay. So next up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our greenery and our balls on. So I think I want to do the ornaments first, just to get those done. I need that. I need to save that. And let me get all these out of the way. All right. So here's the ornaments that we have. They come in a variety of textures. So we have just the plain solid gold and pink. We have the, it's almost like a metallic look to it. They have those. And then we have the glittered ones. So I'm going to go between the glittered and the metallic looking ones first. So let me open this without ripping the container. Maybe I can get in on the side here. Probably not. That side's already been cut. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. I'm trying to save the container so that I'm not going to use all of these, so I need to make sure I can put them all back. So let's grab a few. All right, so what we want to do with this is we're going to take off the hanger part that comes on it. If I can get it off. Usually it comes off with the pliers much easier. So I'm just going to take that, pull that off. And then what it's going to do is it's going to hopefully go right down over that tie. So I'm going to bend one of the ties back and only leave one exposed. And that's the one we're going to use. Now these have a really small hole. You could make it bigger by clipping it off and putting your pliers in there. Or just, you could cut that part off and the hole would be a little bit bigger and then put your glue in. But we're going to try it like this first. I'm going to put a dab of glue on it first and spread it around, and then I'm going to get it a little bit in that hole. And then we're going to put this over. Now be careful with your fingers because you don't want to touch that glue, it's hot. And then make sure your ribbons are where you want them, because when that glue dries, you're not going to be able to move those again. This, I think, is supposed to be on top of this one. There we go. Get those out of the way. So there's one. Okay, let's do one right below. I'm going to alternate these. And then we have one left right here. Now there is a gold there already, so normally we would put a gold after one of the pinks, but I'm going to put a glittered pink, I think, here instead. And nobody but you will notice that there's actually a pattern unless they sit there and study the wreath. And not many people do that. Alright, so let's get our ribbons where they need to be. And that's the last one. And then you can take your dowel or the roll from your mesh, whatever you have, or you could use your fingers. I like this because it gives me a nice little curl. So I get a nice curl there. I like to do this with my 1.5 and my smaller. And they don't have to be, you can pull them and make them so that they're not so tight. There we go. And there we have it. There's our Father Christmas, pink Father Christmas. Let me open this up for you. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If you want to see more tutorials like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button, follow me on Facebook, and make sure to sign up for my email list. I have an email list for our Crafting in the Carolinas retreats, and I also have an email list for my business page, so you can join both of those, and you get special discounts and advance notices of things. And for the Crafting in the Carolinas, you'll be able to find out when our next event is. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for watching.